Hey guys, we're here today talking about New World's combat system and comparing it to what I believe is the closest comparison being Elder Scrolls Online. And note, I'm saying closest, not close, since New World definitely sets itself apart with its combat. New World has drawn quite a few comparisons that I've seen through people like Dark Souls and Black Desert. I have not played Dark Souls, so I obviously can't compare it to that. And although New World and Black Desert are both action combat games, Black Desert is incredibly high fantasy with a lot of flashy effects, so I don't feel like this is a very accurate comparison. The reasons I think Elder Scrolls Online is the closest comparison is that both games have a more dark and gritty or muted artistic style to them. Neither one of them use an auto attack system and instead have you spam light or charged heavy attacks. Both games have a limited number of abilities allowed on your hotbar. They allow any player to equip any weapon, and mix and match light, heavy, and medium armor in any order they want. Both games use a dodging and blocking system that consume a resource pool, along with both games having 2 weapon slots that allow you to switch back and forth with no cooldown. So we are going to go through this video and compare how New World differs from ESO and what I think they improve upon compared to ESO's combat. We will not be talking about any animations or graphics, since New World is much newer than ESO, and ESO is a little bit outdated in these categories. But instead, we'll talk about how it differs in the core systems and their implementation. Assuming most of everyone watching this video are Elder Scrolls players, trying to figure out if they're interested in buying New World, we will not be showing any Elder Scrolls Online combat video and instead just showing New World combat so you can get a better feel of it as I talk about them. A big key to New World's combat and how it differs from Elder Scrolls Online is it is a true action combat game. Elder Scrolls Online is really a tab target game that's hidden behind an action combat skin. You can move your mouse around and target enemies, fire your abilities at them, but if I fire a bow or a magic weapon near an enemy and roughly aim correctly, it will hit the target. New World's hitboxes are incredibly small, and you have to actually be very good with your aim in order to hit your target. This is why the musket was chosen throughout the closed beta quite a bit, because it uses hit scan and doesn't require as much skill in the aiming category. But if you were using a bow or throwing a javelin with a spear or using a magic weapon, it was very easy to miss if you weren't actually trying at the moment or were not used to how the weapons arced or how their projectiles traveled. The hitboxes in the game do create a bigger skill gap. Obviously, when you're choosing a ranged weapon of any sort, you're gaining the added bonus of having distance in the fight. Adding really accurate hitboxes along with projectile travel time makes it to where you have to be skilled with that ranged weapon to get its full advantages. This also means you can have ranged weapons in the game that don't hit necessarily weaker than melee or sometimes hit even harder than them because you have to be skilled to use them. Another big area where these two games differ is resource management in Elder Scrolls Online versus cooldowns on abilities in New World. One of my biggest complaints with Elder Scrolls is that there are no cooldowns on abilities, which means if I miss a crowd control or if I miss my taunt ability, I can just spam it again until I land it. Clearly, the difficulty in Elder Scrolls Online lies within resource management, making sure you don't burn out of stamina or mana at any given moment or at an important part in the fight, and utilizing your heavy attacks at the right moment to regenerate these. New World instead uses a cooldown system on their abilities, making it to where when you miss a big key attack, you need to wait for it to come back up before you can try it again. I much prefer New World's system with this, and I've been saying that Elder Scrolls needs cooldown on its abilities for a very long time. Cooldowns on the abilities allow you to make them more powerful and more impactful in the fight because they can't be spammed all the time. It also makes it to where a game like New World can have no crowd control immunities because you don't have crowd controls up every moment of the fight. In Elder Scrolls Online, I can crowd control the same group of mobs over and over around me, and that's why they have to implement some form of crowd control immunity or resistances. Implementing cooldowns on abilities in your game also makes tanking a lot more engaging and fun. In New World, you generate threat over time if you're set up to tank, and your abilities are used to grab the mob in key moments, which can be a lot more fun in my opinion than it is in Elder Scrolls, where most of the time you're just spamming puncture. Another area where the combat differs is there's not a heavy emphasis on animation canceling in New World. Elder Scrolls Online thrives upon your timing to cancel your animations in order to put out the most damage. New World locks you into these animations, and some people really don't like this, but I am a huge fan of it. There's an ability in the game called Evade with the Rapier that allows you to cancel animations and move out of attacks, which gives it a really cool feel and makes it feel fast since it's the only thing in the game that can animation cancel. There's also a system people use in the beta to be able to cancel animations of your dodge roll by switching weapons or putting your weapon away, which helped you to move faster and escape fights or travel much quicker, but it didn't have a huge effect in combat, at least that I saw. Overall, it does seem like Amazon doesn't want animation canceling in New World, and they won't be moving in that direction, which is a refreshing thing for me. I prefer to see the full animations of my abilities because I actually like seeing the attacks, along with the fact that I feel like it creates more skill in the combat. Although a lot of people will say that animation canceling creates a skill gap for PvP players, and it's true. I think having animations that you have to fully finish through makes it to where you have to time out your abilities more, which is also a level of skill. If you dive into the wrong attack at the wrong time, you exploit your weakness and make it to where you're available to get hit or counterattacked. If the other player can see the animation coming and get out of the way, they have to be skilled enough to get back in and hit you while you're ending that animation. It creates a whole level of skill that is different than animation canceling, although I do agree that animation canceling has a level of skill to it as well. Similarly to the animation canceling is light attack weaving. ESO is completely hinged on the light attack weaving, getting most of your damage out with your light attacks and weaving them between your abilities. I think New World was really smart in putting a light attack combo, making it to where the final hit of your combo actually deals more damage, or has some different effects throughout the combo. If I do one light attack and an ability, it resets this combo and I have to do it from the beginning. Although ESO's light attacks account for most of your damage, they don't feel weighty or important because they're weaved in there and the animations are cancelled. In New World, they feel more important, even though they probably deal less damage overall, because it's the primary attack you're doing between cooldowns and you actually need to time those combos to land that big final hit. This is more enjoyable to watch, it's funner to do, and you can't just keep spamming it and you need to dodge in and out, and you need to try to land the final hit of it in order to get more damage out without exposing yourself too much. Another area where the two games differ that you don't actually see in the combat as much, but is equally important, is the skill trees. In both games you have weapon skill trees that have passives and activatables. The key difference here being that in ESO, you really have no cap on skill points between sky shards and levels, along with all the dungeon completions and story quests, which means you can have all passives unlocked for everything you're using. Although you can only take certain weapon skills and put them on the hotbar, all the passives for that weapon are unlocked. Which essentially means everybody using the same weapon is getting the same benefits. Obviously, if you're not using any weapon skills, then you're not getting most of the benefits. But a lot of people using dual wield or two-handed are getting a lot of the same things. In New World, you only get 19 points to put into each weapon. This makes you pick and choose passives and will create a little bit more build diversity, since everyone using a Warhammer won't be exactly using the same build, although there will obviously be a meta. You will be able to take slight passive differences from other people and actually see your build shift and change, and it makes the passives and the activatables more important because you are limited on how many points you can put in. This limited point system goes directly into how their weapon swapping works. Both games allow you to swap between two weapons without a cooldown on them. You can flip back and forth without any issues. The great thing about New World is when you switch from one weapon to another, all of the active buffs from one weapon go away and dissipate. This means we do not have to deal with Elder Scrolls Online's buff bars. Maybe it's just me that finds it incredibly tedious to have to flip over to one hotbar just to activate a bunch of 20-second buffs, and flip back to put out damage and be there every 20 seconds. In New World, both of your weapons serve a purpose. I can't just flip to one for a bunch of passives or buffs, activate them, and go back. Each one serves a purpose in combat, whether I have a ranged weapon and a melee weapon, or if I've got a crowd control weapon and a damage weapon, one for evasion and escaping, and one for area denial. Whatever your situation might be, each one has a purpose and a reason to switch to it, as opposed to just having one weapon there to switch to buff on. This also means that you won't be equipping two of the same weapon on your front and your back bar, just to have good buffs or an AoE on the back end, which opens up more weapon diversity and more need for situational awareness of which of your weapons is best in a given scenario. That's my comparison of Elder Scrolls Online versus New World's combat, what I think New World improves upon or implements better than Elder Scrolls Online, and how they set themselves apart in their combat. If you are an Elder Scrolls Online player looking to get into a new game or are checking out New World because of these comparisons, hopefully this video gave you some insight and clarity on how it works. If you've played New World yourself, maybe you can hop down in the comments and share some of your insights on what it's similar to, or how its combat operates compared to other games. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.